Automation Nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation, around the nation. Automation Nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation, around the nation, around the nation, around the nation. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, the show for business leaders, tech aficionados, and those who are just simply curious about where technology and business are going. Automation Nation is your gateway to understanding automation, AI, and the future of business. Don't get left behind. Tune in now and subscribe for more. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Automation Nation conversation. We're back again for another one. I got my great guest, Curt Anderson. We're going to have a conversation. I think you should get your pens out and take some notes. Of course, we're in the digital age, so you can always rewind. You can use your phone. But I always encourage people, you don't know what you don't know until you have known it. And so Curt, it's from watching and listening to the podcasts and conversations like this where you can get insight. And I'm going to read a little bit of your bio because when people tune into this podcast, Curt, it's no telling who and what masterminds we have with us. So let me just explain who Curt is. So I'm going to read just a little bit of his bio on LinkedIn because I love it. It says, if you're looking for incredible, valuable e-commerce strategies, so his purpose and mission is to help you, capital Y you, reach your e-commerce goals as quickly and painlessly as possible. I think everyone likes to do things as painlessly as possible. Painlessly. He's passionately driven, delivering training jam sessions and consulting on these things. How to scale your proprietary processes with e-commerce for manufacturers. How about SEO made simple for manufacturers? Now, this is a good one. How to out-teach your competition instead of outspending. Now, listen, that's outstanding, Curt.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Rob. Man, dude, what an honor. What a privilege, man. I didn't sleep a wink last night. So it's truly, I'm flattered beyond words. So humbled. Thank you for having me today, man.
Man, the pleasure is mine. We've had conversations before, been on your live stream. Curt, what's the name of your live stream again?
Manufacturing e-commerce success. And what our little tagline is, Rob, is, how to stop being the best kept secret. How many of us out there are like, man, we feel like the best kept secret. How many times you use that line? So our goal is, man, how do we get out there? And you're no secret, but we, a lot of small entrepreneurs out there are the best kept secret. We want to help those folks, right?
Mm-hmm. I love that, man. I love that. So listen, Curt, we ask all our guests this question because we're powered by Simply Automate. And this is a very interesting question. I'm curious to hear what you're going to say. If you could simply automate one thing in your personal life, what would that be?
Man, if I could automate the car, right? Man, if I could just get the car to just drive and just, get me from A to B, like my own little, right? What we have, the driverless cars, aren't they? They're on the cusp right now.
They're on the cusp. They're on the cusp.
They're on the cusp. So if we could automate, you know what? I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm 55, and so technology. Though I'm Mr. E-commerce. Technology doesn't come easy, and so I've been trying to automate. I connected with you on LinkedIn. Just love your content. We became fast friends many years ago now, believe it or not. And so I'm trying to practice what I preach and get more content, do more things automated, and just try to be more efficient, more effective with my time. So, there's a lot of processes, but if you're looking for one answer, I'll go with that driving would be really nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That's good. And we're actually there. We're actually really, really there and getting closer to there. Meaning we're so much there that not only do we have that autonomous car, but now our Alexa will soon be autonomous. So now instead of just ordering the groceries and having them delivered, you actually can have your Alexa go do the shopping in your autonomous car at the store for you. Kind kind of interesting, Curt. Wow, where we're going, man. It's wild.
It's getting wild. It's like for us older guys, used to watch the Jetsons when we were kids. You know, it's like Jetsons are fun. You know, like this was such not a reality for like even this conversation here to be on video, right?
Mm-hmm,
I mean, just the technology that's changed is just and it's happening daily. You got to keep up with it.
Man, it's incredible. It's incredible. So let's jump into what you do best. Man, first of all, maybe share a little bit about yourself too, man, and then what inspired you to start this mission to helping manufacturers in this e-commerce space? We want to know.
Yeah, great question, Rob. So, you know what, I'm going to go back in time. And so as a matter of fact, this, I've got a little connection to you, so we might be talking about a little connection that you and I have going back in time, but I had a wholesale business 1995, Rob, probably you and everybody out there wasn't even born yet. So 1995, I had a wholesale business. My accountant likes to say I was the biggest disaster that she'd ever met. That is gospel's true story. God strike me dead, right? And so just out of sheer desperation, I don't know what, I'm running out of options here. Let me try this e-commerce thing. I had a wholesale business in a wonderful city. You and I have a connection to Buffalo, New York. And so I'm like, hey, just out of sheer desperation, let's try this e-commerce thing. And, it took there was no Google, there was no social media. It took many, many, many years. But eventually that company took off, did really well. I was fortunate, blessed. I ended up selling it. And since selling that e-commerce business, my purpose, my passion, my mission has been helping other entrepreneurs, other manufacturers, if you will, try to figure out this whole e-commerce thing. So that's kind of my background story there, if you will.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. And so it's like you had a breakthrough and now you want to help others break through.
I had a breakthrough and I want to help others break through. Now, you mentioned the word inspiration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a little Buffalo, New York connection. Do you mind if could I share my screen for 1 second? Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Well, let me set the table here. Okay. Yeah. Let me set the table. So wherever you're coming from, if Buffalo, New York, Rob, what do you think of with Buffalo, right?
Yep.
Chicken wings and snow. That's the two, right?
Maybe two things.
Buffalo Bills, right? So, and if you're not a hockey fan, you're like, hey, we have the Buffalo Sabres hockey. So, when I was in my 20s and I had this, wholesale business, and I'd go to other sporting events, even though my business was a disaster. And every sporting event that I would go to, there was a guy there that would fire up the entire crowd, whether it didn't matter if it was a Buffalo Bills game with 80,000 people, it could have been a Buffalo Sabres game with 20,000 people. As a matter of fact, I want to show you what this guy would do to light up the crowd. Can I show you that for 1 second?
Oh, yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right, let me show you my screen for 1 second here.
Let's do it.
And this is classic. Let me see if I can find it here. And all right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
You got it? Okay,
yep.
Here we go. Now, Rob, are you sitting down? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, is there a person who doesn't know who that is? Hockey game in this auditorium?
Look at this guy.
And what an ovation he got.
Earl of Bud.
One last little Mexican hat dance in the
Rob, can you believe this guy would fire up? Look at him.
Feeling, Kenny. He's been doing it for 26 years.
26 years.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Oh, look at this.
Rob, that guy right there. So what he was a distributor at the games, right? And he was a concession guy. And so, all right, let me stop sharing my screen. I'll come back to you.
Yep.
And he would get the whole place fired up. His nickname was Earl of Bud, and he would do the Pee Wee Herman dance. And I tell you, the guy, I high-fived that guy 100 times. I don't know how many beers I bought from that guy. Rob, do you know who that guy is?
Well, actually, I kind of grew up with that guy.
You grew up with Earl the Bud? Are you kidding me?
I grew up with him. I grew up with him as my father.
That's your dad, isn't that? Rob, I can't tell you how much I love your father. And when you think about what did that guy do? You know what I mean? Like, if I hey, Rob, what do you do for a living? Well, I help people be more efficient with their time, more profits. Your dad I almost get I get chills when I think about your dad. And this is the gospel story. And I'm telling you, I probably went to, my wife and I would go to a dozen Sabre games a year. We'd be at the Bills games. And so you and I meet 25 years later. And we make that connection. Like my dad is Earl of Bud. I almost like fell through the computer, right? And what this guy would do is like, we talk about businesses out there, and I'm going to get serious for a minute. There's a book out there called Blue Ocean Strategy. Man, it's a game changer. If you haven't read it, I couldn't encourage you, invite you, welcome you. Read the book Blue Ocean Strategy. Earl of Bud, your dad. What's your dad's name?
Earl House.
Earl House. Okay. Earl House, what he did is he's a guy, selling beers. Like, hey, do you want peanuts? You want a beer? You want whatever? He separated himself. He created a blue ocean because everybody else is selling beer and it's a commodity, right? So think about the product that you sell, the service that whatever you do, the problem that you solve, what you bring to the market. What Earl of Bud did was so brilliant is he creates a dance and he brought an energy and an excitement to 80,000 people on a weekly basis, to Buffalo Sabres games with 20,000 people a couple nights a week. And he separated himself. And I just think there's just so much there from a business standpoint and from a personal standpoint. He brought pure joy and exhilaration to tens of thousands of people. And God bless Earl for what he did. And I'm firsthand, right?
Man, that's amazing, man. That's amazing that inspiration goes that far, that long. It's incredible. And like, and we can sit here and talk about it.
It's what? Yeah, I think that was from like 1998. Like what is that? That was 20. However many years ago, right? I mean, like this was 30 years ago. There was no social media back then. Like we weren't breaking out our phones. But here it is on YouTube. Yeah, from the 90s, and your dad's out there doing the Pee Wee Herman, and people adored and loved and respected your father. And I tell you, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Oh, there's no coincidence that you and I came together. So I just want to thank you and your dad for just being just such wonderful human beings. You guys make the world a better place.
Man, brother, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your kind words. And what we used to say when we were younger, man, what you say, I'm rubbing your glue, what you say bounce off me and stick to you. That's what we used to say that. And that's what I'm saying now, because what you're doing is helping people not just do better business, but stay in business. Honestly, stay in business. And a lot of folks want to scale. They want to grow their business. Let's talk about how folks can scale and grow their business, do e-commerce, and maybe what you're doing, what you've seen. I love practical things, so you can kind of just explore on this one, because the ears are listening.
Yeah, thank you, man. So the big thing is when you think about e-commerce, what's the E in e-commerce? E stands for easy, right? We used to say electronic. It's just easy, and a lot of the folks that I work with, like I've had if you're an older generation, I'm a Gen Xer or baby boomer, and you're like, people aren't using this, like people just, you don't want to make it difficult to do business with you. I have a little tagline, how can you help your ideal buyer, that perfect customer, make a buying decision from you on a Friday night at midnight without having to wait for you to open up your doors on Monday morning, So the thing is, if you're the best kept secret, and I can't tell you how many customers, why they come to, in my world, my co-host Damon, why they come to myself and Damon, they're like, their customers are saying like, I love doing business with you, but you make it really hard to do business with you. So like, the thing is, if you're making it hard for your customer to do business with you, I don't care how much they love you, adore you, or whatever, they're going to go to somebody else, man. And so if you're ignoring that technology, the automation tools that you offer, e-commerce, if you don't make it easy for your ideal customer, man, you're just putting yourself at a real difficult position. And, and I'm trying to practice what I preach. I'm trying to do the exact same thing. So as entrepreneurs, we're all in this boat, and just, the more we can make it easier. So when you talk about that proprietary process, so, you could be selling a service, you'd be selling a product, maybe you just innovated, I have a lot of startups where, they're taking a hobby, an interest, a solution that they sell for themselves, and now they're trying to convert that into a business. And they're like, man, how do I stop being the best kept secret? How do I get my product out there? E-commerce is a way to go. If you're a Gen Zer, if you're a millennial, I was just I did a webinar this week with a millennial, and she's like, you know what? If I can't book my reservations at a restaurant online, I'm not going to that restaurant. So again, you've got to meet your customer where they are. They want to be on their phone. They want to make that purchase. They really don't want to pick up the phone to call you, and they just want to make it. You've got to make it as easy as possible. So that's kind of my preach, if you will, Rob.
Yeah, and you're right. Let's actually recap a little bit on how we can make that easier. What are maybe some top 3 ways maybe you can think of?
Yeah, thank you. And so, we're talking about parents today. So, Rob, my mom has a favorite book of hers. It was written by her favorite son. It's over here. It's called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. And so it was written by her favorite son, Curt Anderson. I'm her only son. But so this little book that we have, we do a lot of webinars, workshops, trainings, that type of thing around how do you stop being the best kept secret. Here's a 3-step approach, Rob. Number 1, you've got to know your ideal customer inside and out, man. So, and I trust me, I've been guilty of this millions of times. We try to be everything to everybody. When you try to be everything to everyone, you become nothing to no one. Jack of all trades, master of none. And it's hard. And what we love to preach, how do you niche down? And I hate to say it, how do you niche down till it hurts? Especially if you're just trying to get some momentum. Maybe you're a newer entrepreneur, maybe new to a career, new job, new sales, whatever you might be in. What's critical is understanding, knowing that ideal customer. We do when we do our trainings, sometimes we'll get someone in a training and be like, wow, we're selling all sorts of different people. Well, if you're selling all sorts of different people, you're probably coming because you're struggling, you're being challenged because you're trying to be everything to everybody. Niche down and know your ideal customer. In our training, we call it know your soulmate. Know your soulmate inside and out. Know who you're speaking to. Understand their problem, their challenges, their frustrations. Number 2, how do you make a great first web impression? Okay, so that ideal customer, we call them soulmates. Like, who's that soulmate that just you were put on this earth to help move the needle for this product, this service, this solution? So how do you know them inside out? Number 2, how do you make that great first web impression? Meaning, I land on Rob's LinkedIn profile and Rob just has a wealth of information. He has his podcast. He has all sorts of social proof, street credibility. Rob's just crushing it. When somebody lands on your website, your LinkedIn profile, your social media, what do they see? Do they see that you're showing yourself as an expert, that type of thing? So know your customer. You want to make a great first web impression. And then the last thing is we just got to get found. We got to stop being the best kept secret. We got to get out there. So, Rob, that's my approach right there.
Got to get found. I love that last one because that it goes right to my next question. Getting found, SEO tips. Come on. What was the name of that? Let me go back over to your bio. SEO made simple for manufacturers. Let's go into that because I know you have some nuggets.
Yeah, it's with AI changing the whole world, and we could have a bunch of SEO or AI experts. You might have a lot of different opinions, but SEO, search engine optimization is still so prominent. And part of our training, know your ideal customer, because now when I know my customer, I know their language, I know what they're speaking, I know what what challenges they're looking for, or I know what key phrases that they're going to type into Google. That's a first step, right? Secondly, once you understand all those keywords, here's a great example, Rob. So I run into a lot of folks that, we know our problem, our solution, what have you, but we don't know what they're thinking, what they're typing. So for example, if, Rob, you a coffee drinker by any chance?
I am indeed.
So, you go through the drive-through, you get that little cardboard thingy that goes around the cut. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any idea what that thing's called?
Not a clue.
Not a clue, right? You know what it's called, Rob? It's called a zarf, Z-A-R-F, zarf. Like, who knew it was called a zarf? The guy that founded that little darn cardboard thingy, I wish me and you and Earl of Bud would have thought of that cardboard thingy. So the guy that founded it, Jay Sorensen, 1991, found that little cardboard thingy and just made $1 gazillion on a 2-cent card. You know what he called it? The Java Jacket. Called it the Java Jacket. It's called a zarf. But the thing is, if you and I were manufacturing Java jackets, and I'm like, hey, Rob, everybody on the planet knows the Google Java Jacket. You're like, Curt, nothing personal. You're like, you're not the sharpest tool in the shed. Nobody knows what a Java Jacket is. Nobody knows what a zarf is. They're thinking, I don't want to burn my fingers on my cup of coffee. What do I do? That's what they're thinking. They're not. They don't know to type Java Jacket, right?
Right.
So maybe in your world, with automation, I just I need more profits. I need to make more money. I need to satisfy my boss or my supervisor or somebody, right?
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking, but I don't necessarily know to type Java jacket or Zarf. So what I strongly encourage folks out there, understand what your soulmate is looking for, what their problem is, what their challenge, and then get that content, just like your podcast here, blog posts, social media, but speak that language. Rob, I love to say, don't Zarf your customer. Right? Don't. So speak their language, and that's a great way to approach. That's a good first step to get a killer SEO strategy.
That's good. Speak their language, meet them where they are. That's phenomenal.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. Good advice, man. Good advice. Now let's talk about some automation and streamlining, because we know there's a combination here. Let's get your insight on this.
Yeah, for e-commerce, so we'll talk to product companies, and this could be relevant for service companies, right? When somebody lands on your website, is it easy to navigate? Is it easy to make a purchase from you? Again, if you sell a product, what does that look like? I work with a lot of manufacturers where maybe they're a custom manufacturer. They don't have that proprietary product. But what they do have is they have a proprietary process. Okay. That's where the magic comes. So again, even if you're a service provider, if you're in accounting, finance, whatever it might be, niche down, speak that language to the ideal customer, that soulmate, and just then from an e-commerce standpoint, offer, hey, this is what we offer. This is what we provide, bundle into a package or a solution. There's a thing that manufacturers use that's real prominent. It's called a configurator. So what people can do is they can go on somebody's website and I can actually create a new product. We mentioned the word blue ocean before. That's a great way to create a blue ocean and to separate yourself from your competition by, instead of like, if I don't have something specific on my website, it's just kind of broad. I'm not sure exactly what you do. But if you offer that product, if you take your proprietary process, turn it into a product, that's great for SEO. It's great for efficiency. And now you can automate that process. Now I can actually hit the buy button, or I can engage with you and get the party started. So that's one of my answers there for how to automate e-commerce.
Yeah, I like that. Easy peasy. We want things to be as easy as possible, if possible. As easy as possible, if possible. Remember, I gotta put the if in there. Because everything's not automatable.
Everything's not automatable. I like that, dude. I love that line. Yeah, that's true. Very true, man.
Man, I like this title, How to Outteach Your Competition Instead of Outspending. Does this have anything to do with content creation?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna grab a book. So I borrowed, maybe I even stole it, Rob, but I took that line from this book right here. So Rework.
Okay.
So Rework is the guys that founded the software 37 Signals. I think they was a Basecamp. So they do project management software. So this guy, he used to write for Inc. magazine. It's a phenomenal book. It's called Rework. Came out a number of years ago. And so I shamelessly stole the line from him. So I don't want to take credit for it. But what he talks about, for advertising, right? If you're entrepreneur, how do you stop being the best kept secret? Well, I can do Google ads. I can spend a ton of money. I can do social media ads, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. And just like, hey, let's spray and pray, right? What the concept is how do you, instead of outspending the competition, how do you outteach the competition? Now, Rob, this is exactly, dude, you practice what you preach. You're doing it right here with your show, right? You're just showing your expertise. You're bringing on other folks to, what I love, I both have a live show. You know why I love my live show? Because I bring on somebody like you. I never want to be the smartest guy in the room. I can bring on someone like you, and you've done tons of shows. I've done hundreds of episodes. I can bring in other folks. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to align and partner with other people, but by bringing in these other subject matter experts, could be on automation, AI, SEO, e-commerce, whatever that market is, that I think my soulmate, my ideal customer, the challenge that they're dealing with, and I can bring on somebody else to talk about that. That's how I'm trying to outteach the competition. I do all sorts of webinars. I align with different universities. I do a lot of work with like Purdue and different colleges. And so we do webinars trying to outteach the competition. And so I encourage any entrepreneur out there, if you're struggling, you're feeling like the best kept secret, man, just become that fierce educator and it's a great way to grow your business.
Oh my goodness, that's a great one. That's a great one. Become a fierce educator. There's a lot of pros with being a fierce educator. Not only will you be able to grow your business, but you'll be growing yourself even more, because when you teach something, the retention rate goes up to about 80 to 90%. And so, meaning whatever you are doing, the moment you start teaching it, it starts to become more embedded within inside of you. So
Absolutely,
it's better for everyone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, and here I'll give you here's a perfect example. So I work with different agencies that work with manufacturers. So then so I provide e-commerce solutions. Okay, so in this agency, they work with manufacturers. They're in Chicago, and they reach out. They're like, "Hey, Curt, you know, we have a client, this manufacturer, and they're looking to do an e-commerce project. You know, right up your alley. They're looking to do this particular software. I'm not familiar with this software. Have you heard of it? Rob, you're going to love it." So, you know, you and I have this live show. I'm like, so it's a publicly traded company. I work very, very closely with them. They're called eCommerce. They're out of Austin, Texas, and love those guys. I've had 5 of their employees, their teammates, on my live show. I actually have a case study that we did with a client in Buffalo, New York, through this agency that works with manufacturers. Okay. And it was through eCommerce. So I'm like, okay, here's a video with a case study, a success story that we did with that software with another manufacturer. Here, Damon and I just interviewed the vice president of education of that company a month ago. Here's another episode. Here's another episode. So now I have an archive library of relationship building that I've done with this publicly traded software company. I send it to this guy who's like, "Oh, okay. I guess you do know these people, right?" So I mean, it's just when you dedicate yourself to educating and shining bright light, you know what you're doing right here. It's a win-win-win for everybody.
Oh man, win. I love that. We can definitely get more wins around here. I love it, man. I love it.
Amen.
So let's talk about this, man. What the challenges? Because I know it's a thing.
It's a thing, and I would love to hear your response as well. I can give you one word. Well, I'll give you 2 words. It's I'm a Gen Xer, as I mentioned, right? It's resistance, right? It's like change, and what do you do? Like in your world, you educated me a ton where, hey, I'm used to doing my thing and I do it this way and I think I'm doing it the fastest. And then, us guys have these horrible egos, right? And now you come in and you just educate, like you've got to break it, right? Do you face a ton of resistance when you're trying to get people to make that transition?
But there's always resistance, 100%. So the route is, you never want to go against the resistance. You want to do what you were just talking about and educate or edutain. Because when you edutain people, they're now their attention. You've gotten their attention. The attention is the flashlight of their mind. Now it's focused on where you want it to be. You can't just go in and try and turn the flashlight on and push the button. They're like, "What are you doing on my flashlight?" You're invading. Instead, you got to educate, edutain, and now they'll turn the light on.
Dude, I couldn't love that word more. How do you edutain people, right? And that you are the king of edutainment. I have to say, and it came from your father, I'm going to guess. But
you know it.
And that's and you know what the big thing is, working around, but it's trust, right? You've got to earn somebody's trust. And we just did a webinar for big organization on Tuesday, and a woman on that panel just crushed it. She said, "You know what you have to do to make that digital transformation? You have to respect the legacy of the company. You have to respect the tradition." Because if you come in and like you've got your baseball bat and you're like, "Hey, how you guys were doing it, that was a dumb, that's old school, that's inefficient," you can't make other people feel foolish or shame that, that type of thing. You've got to come in, you've got to embrace them and say, "Hey, what you've been doing is phenomenal." So in my world with e-commerce, hey, for years we would pick up the phone, hey, even technology wise, hey, let's get the email purchase order. Well, guess what? People don't want to pick up the phone to call you for tracking information on an order. Right. People don't want to pick up the phone to call you for the commodity that they buy on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I'll call you when I have a challenge or a frustration that I need, that I'm trying to overcome. But if it's something that I'm buying from you weekly, nothing personal, I don't want to call you. I don't even want to send the purchase order. Can I just go to your website? Can I hit the buy button, get out of here, get out? And then we'll talk next week, right? Yep.
Yep.
So being efficient, but I love what you're saying is like, you've got to embrace that, and embrace the tradition and, man, edutain the heck out of them. Right.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. Good advice. All right, we're coming in for a landing here, man. So let's get your best piece of business advice and your favorite quote.
Oh man, there are so many, right? So, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I said a little bit before, because I'm trying to practice this one myself. Niche down till it hurts, right? The riches are in the niches. I couldn't encourage you enough. I'm trying to practice this. I'm working on this constantly, working with my clients. I'm going to say, if you're trying to get off the runway and really trying to build your business, and you just feel like you're kind of spread out. I don't know if you ever feel like, man, I'm just trying to do a little too much. I couldn't encourage you, laser focus, and just give everything you've got to your God-given talent, how you can move the needle. The more, was it Zig Ziglar said, the more people you help achieve their goals is going to help you achieve your goals.
Yeah.
And so I just say, man, you were given a God-given talent. Just go out and just give everything you've got and crush it and be the best at that.
And subscribe. I love that, man. I love that. I love that. Give it everything you got. If you help it, that was the masterful Zig, helping up folks to get to where they want to get to, and just inevitably you're going to get to where you want to get to.
That's right.
That's just how it works. And then if you happen to educate yourself along the way, then you'll really be well off. Curt?
Absolutely. Hey, and we're just, life is just one big learning experience, isn't it? Just, I'm blown away of how many mistakes I make on a daily basis, but every single one of those mistakes is just a learning opportunity. Just, get a little better, and you hang out guys like Rob, and just, you come to podcasts like this, just iron sharpens iron. Just, keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward.
That's it. Keep moving forward. Even when we fail forward. Yeah. Curt, let's talk about, I want you to not just share like how folks can get in contact with you, but share again the live stream, when you go up, where people can find you, give them the whole shebang, please. And then folks, you can connect with Curt, of course, down in the description. If you're listening to this, wherever you're listening, doesn't matter where you're listening, there's a description somewhere. Find that description, you'll find Curt's information. But Curt, go ahead and share with them like these wonderful things you're doing, please. And also books too.
Absolutely. Thank Rob again, dude. I love you, brother. Just thank you for the opportunity here, man. Just what a great friend you are, and just wonderful connection. LinkedIn, Curt Anderson on LinkedIn. Would absolutely love to connect with you. Rob mentioned we have a little live show. We do it twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, 12:32 Eastern time. And it's called Manufacturing E-commerce Success. We're just diving in. We have just wonderful, amazing, incredible guests like our friend Rob here. We're just geeking out and just talking about how to help you become, stop being the best kept secret. And so my company is B2B Tail. It's a little play on words. Instead of retail, it's B2B Tail. And so check that out. We would love to help you, man.
Love that. Curt Anderson, thanks a lot, my brother, for being here. And like I said, folks, you don't know what you don't know. So get around folks who know more than you. You may know something you need to know. And also, remember this too, send in your questions, and remember to connect with our guests. Curt, we had someone who actually had a question for a guest. They answered the question. They actually wound up doing business together. So I love what's possible here, because it's all about sharing information that's valuable and then taking action on the information that you got.
Couldn't agree more, man. Same thing. I love when people come on our live show and we get that note like, hey, geez, we landed a client, or, picked up a new customer, or whatever it might be. So, and Rob, one last thing, man. Tell your dad I love him, man. Say, hey, Buffalo misses your dad, and we're sending him tons of love for all the joy that he brought to Western New York. And so we appreciate it.
Blessings, man. Appreciate you, brother. God bless. And thanks you all for tuning in. Automation Nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation. Around the nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation.